Escape Pod, Episode 639. Me, Meg, and the Thing. By Jean-Paul Bergeron.
Today's Escape Pod has swearing and references to mental illness. Hello and welcome to Escape Pod. I'm Mer Lafferty, this week's host and your co-editor. Hugo voting ended this week. We have moved from reminding people to vote to hoping people have voted for us. The next 3 weeks won't be tense at all. Today's story is the linguistically adventurous Me, Meg, and the Thing by Jean-Paul Bergeron. Jean-Paul Bergeron is a writer, poet, actor, filmmaker, and comedian currently living in Los Angeles. He graduated from Yale in 2017 and was a finalist for the 2017 Dell Award for Excellent in Undergraduate Science Fiction and Fantasy Writing. His humor writing has been published in McSweeney's Internet Tendency and The Higgs Weldon. He owes mad props to George Saunders and Charles Yu, without whom he'd be an uninspired dullard who uses supernormal verbiage. Find him on Twitter at GPBergeron. He's also the co-host of Don't Need to Know, a comedy podcast that dives deep into anything peripheral and makes jokes about it. It's read to us by Trendane Sparks. Originally born in Texas, Trendane eventually escaped and wound his way through a mystical series of jobs in the San Francisco Bay Area, where he has worked as a software QA tester for both graphics drivers and video games, a freelance mascot performer, and several jobs on a PBS kids show. For most of his life, people have told him that his voice is a pleasure to listen to. But since being a werewolf phone sex operator can get boring, he decided to use his powers to entertain a broader audience. This is an Escape Pod original. Now settle down and enjoy your tiny thimble of story time.
Me, Meg, and the Thing by Jean-Paul Bergeron. I'm in room, making honest credit, doing daily, counting breaths, when Meg messaged me with extreme urgent marcation to say that she got a thing, and I'm like, Meg, you loon, please. And then she stresses the urgency with absolute dire marcation, i.e. there's never been a realer deal. And so I hyperthink and create some awful anxiety such that Maine recommends exercise, which I do super quick, after which Maine allocates extra water and recommends drinks, so I do it and sit still until 10 minutes, watching my bladder marcation rise slowly until it hits basic relief, at which point I turn my thoughts to nearly zilch and relieve myself all over myself, and Maine calls sanitation to take me to communal care while Meg will be waiting with pissed pants, a fat grin, and maybe even a thing. When I blip back in, I'm crammed between two dullards who can't breathe right. I do a head roll and wheeze like the others, fitting in and scanning for Meg. Her cubby is on the fringe of this communal care's jurisdiction, so, like always, I've got some time. CC's a real wonk fest. Most par for the course delinks such as ourselves do quiet daily in their in-rooms and steer mad clear of this locale. Only the biggest flim-flam pathetics are forced into interpersonal space because their thought capacities are like naught. Communal care's got a bunch of regulars who are completely toony, and due to the peeing and mad fluctuation of electric buzz in my skull, on account of necessary communication with Meg, who is my only comrade in lucid interaction, they think I'm King Toon. This royal designation stems from the seemingly jambly signs that Meg and I chat with includes mad eyelash flutters, a cipher too slippery for any CC mech. Also note, cipher robustness equals necessity due to our dealings involve Max. His identity remaining super secret is top-notch priority for us being luminous revs and all. Anyways, I'm waiting for like 370 breaths when two mechs lay Meg up against the opposite wall. Meg is not dimple-cheeked, which brings me strange comfort because it's like she has no need to telegraph her happiness so dumbly. Meg blips back in before I go completely scatterbrain. I look at her straight on with gaga eyes and she gives me a small smirk. We enjoy our tiny thimble of success. Me, blinking cipher. You wizard! How does it feel to hold the thing? Meg, blinking back. Insufficient terms, like supernormal because of excessive normality, a kind of unreality hits me that's like BAM! Mechs whiz between us, hence sightline breaks for a teensy-weensy moment. Me. Can we use it? My blood pumps at double rate of daily. Mad danger equals mad revolutionary. Possibility. We're the first revs to acquire a thing since Marcus the mech befuddler. Specs on Marcus. Friend of Meg. Slippery as ciphers. Escape to elsewhere. Works with Max plus other revs to infiltrate in-world and create doers. Meg. Blinking. Shoots in 2. If unlucky, goodbye, or repeat cycle until contact. No messaging. Me. What? You absolute dimwit! My reaction is thus. Shoots have wild risks, and messaging equals fluffy cushion of safety. Meg. Did I not indicate absolute diamarcation? Secrecy paramount. Max's decree quite explicit. Shoots in 1. Me. Yeesh. Shoots are like totally new venture, and my memory on protocol is murk. I look around for laundry door and find one, and see Meg find one. Oh boy. Reality equals here, and I wait till mechs retreat maximum distance, and flash my eyes desperate at Meg. Meg, blinking. Now! Meg busts up, and I follow suit. We hear whir of mechs turning, and now we're flailing, running all wonky as to seem like pathetics in patterns Meg learned from Marcus to scramble mechs' algorithms. We make our way into different laundry rooms and promptly thrust ourselves into the soiled bins. At least I hope Meg did so in adjacent room. While sitting in awful bin of cloth and expelled liquids and solids, hoping mechs are supreme dumbos and will soon pull lever to tip bin into chutes with me on board, I bounce visions around my dome. I dream on elsewhere, its never-endingness in every possible vector, youthfuls producing practical yet gorgeous items for other usefuls to enjoy, interpersonal group units of existence where folks pose such questions as, what is your emotional state due to the events of the day? And, on this day, what did you create and how? All over a communal glob of nutrients. The whir of a mech blips me back. I'm done for, but no. Thunk goes the lever, and my limbs go cockamamie, slamming into metal chute walls. I jamble down at radical steepness with impaired vision due to white, brown, yellow fabric comrades. I'm tumbling loony, bonking here and there as chutes make descent into the pit. I land in a massive circle heap of pissed pants and soiled articles. The pit. I equal quick transfixed by the sheer quantity of garment slides converging at my present locale, and desperate hyperthink as to the exact protocol of chutes meeting, before the pit gives way to next laundry stages, sudsing, washing, wringing, surefire death. Basically, after a few dozen breaths locked in indecision, soiled heap gives way to black depths, at which point I clamber into center hole and hope it's the right one, which, guess what? It's not. After hundreds of breaths of composing death ballad fit for bland existence like my own, sitting, breathing, I feel a pinch, and it's Meg, and she gives me copious lifts of protocol I failed. I'm mad, bewildered, but just like happy to see her, and I bet my dimples make me look as toony as they come, at which point she hugs me something fierce. I've not had this kind of intentional human contact in much time, and she brings me to legendary Chutes. Chutes has history. It's a room the size of 2 cubbies, but a dozen chicks, dudes, and non-gens have made this on and off their in-room for years, a rev haunt facilitating deliverance to elsewhere. As I linger in the beginning moments of existing in such a luminary locale, assuaging my fears on my lonesome has a near zilch of activity. I sweat quite profusely, waiting for a mech to blaze in, return me to my in-room, and hook me with brain twinge, which inflicts wowie-zowie pain and tweaks time into slow-mo such that counting breaths becomes infinite ordeal. It inspires one to self-kaput but paralyzes one's limbs, and plus attempting self-kaput equals king-size no-no due to punishment, near maximum dose of twinge. Thus, twinge makes one wish for ho-hum norm of daily. But no mechs come. I look to my rock, Meg, who seems smooth, hence most likely mechs are dullards after all, and Marcus egg-headed. Perhaps Max will reward me with a job for my brilliant execution once I'm elsewhere, or place me in some interpersonal group unit which dwells outroom in a natural locale. Chutes presents quite barren. I had delicate hopes there would be fierce revolutionary material lining the walls, and paper and pens to expound my super-quick thoughts to decree format, and passageways to some kind of head honcho rebel, Max. But of course Meg still had fallback of Max's decree, which was how she knew that obtaining a thing was mad relevant to becoming useful. In all the thinking of death and such, I had forgotten my excitement over the thing. I start blurting out something toony with Cypher when I realize that this moment is pregnant with the possibility for vocal speech. I go, "Hey," and I sound super weird, and Meg laughs, and hearing that is total anti-norm. She snivels and snorts, and the sounds are sensory madness in my ears, but like refreshingly not imagined, and her expressions are such dingus that now I'm laughing and breathing. 1, 2, 3, but then I stop counting. I'm done with daily, and I take a big breath and hold it and go, "Blah!" And Meg goes, "Blah!" And I go, "Bro-tay-tee-tee-tee!" And Meg roars, "Humpraloozy!" And we heave big breaths. We prance around chutes, wagging our limbs loony, and I see her muscly stiffness loosen. "Cramdiumbi," I go, and we nuzzle into each other as I imagine wild animals do. "Tarasmildo," goes she, her shaved head bristling on my chin. And what overload of senses! All these things I haven't felt, and this is only the beginning toward a useful life full of wondrous different things that feel and look different. I've only ever seen Meg with aura of determination galore, but currently it simply equals joy and wonder and wow, how lucky are we, us being the chosen two for an actual revolution, for an actual escape to a no-walled locale where there are bazillions of purposes going straight out of the ground like I'm told lush greenery does. We breathe and tumble to the ground. We lay for a moment. I relish being on the cusp, the almost of something huge. With rapid intention, Meg sits up and envelops herself in serious vibes. "So, dimwit, you want to see the thing or not?" she lilts. I go, yes, spill the marbles." She yanks off her right shoe and, clenched between big and next big toes, is a little marbular thing. It's a gray thing. It's a gray silvery thing. It's got like profuse swirls of gray and silver and gray, and they snake quick between each other, and I get this wave of the lurking power hiding in the thing. "Quick-handed much, are we?" I jab at Meg. She flourishes her fingers as if to say these babies are professional. Deft. Turns out, on the way back from previous meeting at CC, our 9th, when Meg translated Max's decree into Cypher for me and resolved to get a thing, Meg had lucky fortune to be carried by 2 mechs down wonky path on account of a disaster with some pathetic and regular hallway, such that she passed by cart full of things and she fell and swallowed one. After hearing this, gooberish words came from me. "So what's the deal?" It's a thing." "Duh, flim-flam, but what, like, you haven't elucidated its exact use." I agree full body with Max's decree that things are most likely absolute key to Maine's power, but like how? Get the thing, check. But now? Meg wiggles a bit. In frustration? "Dude." "Apologies, just excitement to act." We sit in thin silence. "So what does it do?" Meg lashes out, definite frustration. "I don't know, okay, creep? All Max's decree said is to get a thing and kablam it." "And kablam it? To what end? That's in the decree?" "I'll use shoe sole." "Hold a breath. When you ciphered the decree, no mention was made of kablamming the thing." "Dude, it sounds completely loony. Marcus recommended 1 step at a time. First step was getting thing." I look to Meg, her eyes all moxie, and think on my dimwit state pre our initial run-in, and her illumination of truth and hope and other great big notions like elsewhere, but as I see her commence ritual of striking, a nagging due to reality of mechs and brain twins and uselessness makes me blurt, "Wait!" Momentary thought before kablamming only hope. "Are you concrete?" He said kablam. Maybe some mech doctored it, or you misinput. What if it's Maine's trick to blow ourselves up like some kind of toony accidental suicide? Meg slaps me. "Decree is basic necessity of our existence. Without it, you would be counting breaths like a dimwit, waiting until your body rotted out from under you, you useless thud." I'm flushed, and now I know I'm a real pathetic. I pray that Max doesn't know what I said. I eye the thing, taunting me on the ground with its swirling gray, silver gray, and in a swift, smooth motion I windmill my arm wide and kablam the thing. That orbular hope. The thing goes kerplat, Gray, silver gray, goop splurts on walls, floor, ceiling, my worried face, Meg's stoked then lost face. I see the wind go out of her like she's being strangled. Her hands are limp. I hyperthink and I sweat faucets. Didn't I kablam it right? Could I have kablammed it in any other way? We wait in the thick, goopy silence. Meg's thoughts turn to zilch. I see her go slack. My eyes burn from behind and are begging me to flush them out, and why did I have to kablam it? I should have let her kablam it, and now she's all zilch and I ruined our only thing. But where is Max, and who is Max, and how did Meg get the decree in the first place? Was it just lying on the floor and shoots like, hey, pick me up, and where are the others? Why aren't there any others? Why hasn't Marcus returned for Meg if he is indeed elsewhere? Is it just Meg and me and thousands of dullards crammed in their in-rooms? Or even if they aren't literally imbeciles and are other obedient delinks, they're useless daily doers who count and breathe, oxy in, oxy out. And what's outside our in-rooms and CC? Is there really an elsewhere with useful people who do tasks that contribute to a group for everyone's benefit and are even so efficient in their task doing that they have bonus time that is not useless, but rather basking in just how useful they are? And are they waiting there for me to break out and be with them in one big outroom? Or are there just endless in-rooms of toons flailing and trying to trick mains so they can go out to a place that never is and never was? And is there anything more than breathing and counting? And what could it be? What is there to do? And Max said that we would take things apart and put them back together. Step 2. He promised a revolution, but where is the fucking revolution? Then the goop slimes and jumbles around, collecting itself and growing and arranging and trickling, and so I shake Meg and yell, Meg, you loon! The kablam, it worked! And slowly she comes back, and now the gray-silver gray has coalesced into a goopy humanoid. Meg and I are enraptured. The goop hardens. Oop, goes the thing. I eye flutter at Meg. The thing talks, and she vocalizes, the thing talks! And the thing goes, the thing talks. The thing blinks, and its orbs are mad lucid and they swirl gray, silver gray. It's got real fleshy flesh, but it's like half my height and like no indications as to its biological sex functioning, and where genitalia should be, it's just smooth as its whole body. Smooth, so it's quite like a post-op non-gen. Overwhelming, sweeping sensation courses through body. Be close to it and play. Toony, I go. Totally flim-flam, goes the thing, perking up like a young obedient. Meg ciphers me. How does he know flim-flam? The thing ciphers her. I hyper-learn. Super sweet algorithms. Whoa, goes us. You smell like pee, goes the thing. Meg and I laugh. We do. What's the plan? Goes the thing. It smiles wide and extends arms as if offering us hands to use as tools. Hoping you would be king of planning department, smirks Meg. Man, do you have a non-thing name? I go, on account of the thing seems too real and like living to continue to call it thing. Call me Max, goes Max. I start. Whoa, wild coincidence. Rad, Max. Meg darts eyes at me. I'm Meg and this wizard is Timo. Rad, Meg and Timo. Relatedly, I'd gladly be king of planning. Stoked for this honor, yippies Max. I'm hyper-thinking because this is quite the super sticky situation on account of Max's potentially head honcho rebel, which conflicts with identity as some kind of non-gen genius baby. Or maybe not. But anyways, Meg casts silence on me, and like I said, my trust in her is nearly complete. But I like this baby Max dude, and if he is the real decree writer, then I want to know quick so we can get on with doing tasks. What's the first plan, Max? Jibes Meg. Put me back together. And Max explodes into hundreds of hard, jagged 3D puzzle pieces. Meg and I both have wide eyes due to Max's loony actions, but hey, a task is a task. Perhaps a kind of rev task that tests our steel-heartedness. Slowly, Meg and I start the reassembling. We both caress each piece like the most precious cargo, laden with emotions to the brim. Doing this task also equals much fun, but a brain itch. I go, so the whole name... Meg daggers me with her eyes. She ciphers. He can hear us. Her hands wobble. I cipher back. So what? Meg, I have this massive trust in Max for some reason. He's such a super sweet, cuddly, non-gen baby. My feelings equals exact same. Find that odd? She clanks two pieces together. No, good vibes are good vibes. Isn't this part of Max's project? Communion with others? On this account, the interpersonal positivity is part of the plan. Meg stops tasking, which is quite the trial, the pull to Max bits being so lovely and vigorous. But, why would the Max be inside a random thing? How could he be I just want to hold him. No, incorrect. Hold on. I see Meg hyperthink and force herself away from the pieces. I force myself away too and hold her robust shoulders and look at her, both of us almost falling back towards Max. Look, Meg, this is full-bodied new and wonky. I'm massively scared due to I feel so powerfully. This equals Max's doing. My heart leaps at unfettered bounds for you both. The Brink's arrival is pronto. Meg, we can finally do. We can have this ravishing feeling constantly elsewhere. I'd so jive with you in an interpersonal group unit. Don't you want that to a commensurate extent as I do? Water gathers on her eyes, a shimmery bathing station. I imagine us in organic locales such as a lake, a big bathing station non-expressly purposed for bathing, and a grass field for running, organized physical tasks, and general laughing shenanigans. Max is there too, as are other revs, and we all touch and use our connectedness for positivity, taking the day off for the purpose of having fun, due to eventually we will have jobs other than doing daily, and will in fact, I am told by Meg, become disenchanted on some days with such jobs, unlikely, and change our purpose, if we so please, to jovial activities including wiggling in lakes and strutting on grass, and this will not be uselessness but rather a great and wondrous event called leisure. She falls towards Max's nearest piece. I question, Rad? She affirms, Rad. Affirming affirmation, I vocalize, For real? Hyper real. And she wipes her eyes paired with all-lip gentle beam. Now, in concert again, we patch Max back up. When Max is whole, Max goes, Yippee! I'm trusted! Yippee! Overwhelmed by Max's endearing tuniness, I go all gaga and start running around with him, and Meg's body drags her to do the same. What's next, Max? Meg slides the word out through her front tooth gap. Use interpersonal connection for good, goes Max. I go, wait, Max, you are the head honcho. You are the dude. Use interpersonal connection for good. That's step 3. You whack job revolutionary. Come here, you revs. I do, and all of a sudden I've got even more intense desire to be close to Meg, but not in a pleasure capacity. Sexual function removed, first time in CC due to close proximity to others, and possibly for misplaced value in sexual satisfaction. But in a human come-close method of I want to share life refracted through you. Meg comes, and as she gets closer to Max and me, I see resistance melt off her face. And we move in rhythmic patterns, and Max sings a song of such beauty I cannot record it here, but oh, it's splendid. This aliveness I feel, it's real in this moment dancing. I feel useful, like this dancing is purposeful, and the glory that is Max and Meg for bringing me to Max, and Marcus for bringing Meg to Max, and me for surrendering to these glories that are trifecta. Marcus, Meg, and Max. When Meg breaks away violent, begins shouting like a right toony pathetic, which totally harshes my vibe. Then I see her flesh warble towards our blessed union and her pull it back. But then I catch Max's silver-gray eyes and I'm locked in again. Meg goes, Max, enough playtime, deliver us elsewhere. Max, still spinning with me, goes, join our interpersonal link, Meg. Max smiles wide and I hold him tighter. Yeah, Meg, I go, as now Max and I do some sort of mimicry movement. Meg pleads, what protocol must we follow to be delivered elsewhere, to become true useful revs? Listen! But Max goes, this is use. This is fun. Meg goes, "Something equals wrong! Something equals wrong! Marcus affirmed Max would deliver us elsewhere. Marcus! What the fuck is your locale, Marcus? Timo, I do not understand!" Max goes, "You do not understand? No sweat. Instructions await." And his mouth flattens and he spits out a wafery non-digital object with gorgeous reading symbols. Now I look at Meg and I'm in my skull like, what kind of loon can do that? A superhuman Rev? Meg takes the wafer. She intakes the info. Apparently the info equals quite extensive, and I do daily to pass time. As I count, she becomes super solemn. She finishes and looks at me with apology eyes. "Spill the marbles," I go. She goes, "Quick admission, my orbs have never personally perused Max's decree." Much shock. I go, "Huh?" And she goes, "Marcus ciphered it to me before he went elsewhere. I memorized." What relation does this have to wafery non-dig you just intook? Breathe. I'm done with daily. Give me the frickin' Max wafer. She acquiesces. It reads, Max's Decree, Preparation for a Useful Life. Max will guide you through the steps to becoming useful. First off, do you want to end up some dullard counting breaths in a steel box? No, of course not. Some kids aren't as lucky as you are and are born into uselessness, so take full advantage of your Max to show how much you appreciate them staying out of the way and in their own useless manner contributing to the harmony of the useful world. Max doubly elucidates the crucial concept of leisure, time to simply bask in interpersonal connectivity, which is uber different from the uselessness of time-wasting counting dimwits. As a young spawn of useful interpersonal units, you equal lucky to have significant leisure, but note that this opportunity will deprecate with age. Play deftly and efficiently with your Max to reach supreme usefulness, which will later in life be rewarded with copious honest credit such that you can afford to take some hours for leisure as if you were still a youth. Now take your capsule and kablam it. Don't be shy, give it a good whack. Look, your Max should be 100% operational. Here are just some of their functions that teach the basic essentials of doing. 1. Establish bond through identification. 2. Take things apart and put them back together. 3. Use interpersonal connection for good. 4. Dance and harness the power of fun. Plus 5 mystery functions that will help you become the most useful adult you can be. I go, oof. And Meg goes, Wizard, I didn't know. Marcus expounded upon these principles to revolutionary heights. This format was murked to my consciousness. And I'm silent. And Max goes, Who's ready for the next plan? And Meg goes, Not now, Max. And I'm silent. And Meg goes, Timo. And she takes my hand. I let her, but it feels icky, and I just want to be alone in my in-room, breathing, making credits so Maine can recommend eating, shitting, sleeping. She looks me straight in the eyes. Her big orbs swirl green, teal, green. She goes, What should we do? I avoid peering at Max or Meg. I go, slow and metered, How did you know Marcus got elsewhere? She stammers, I mean, he was a true Rev, found a thing and escaped with Max's guidance. What if Maine got him? Marcus has super sweet befuddling algorithms. No dice, Timo, no dice. I go, I don't know, Meg. I don't know. Pause. I go, Max equals some plaything for useful kids? She goes, Seems to be so. I think at a quite normal speed about this whole whack job situation and let Meg sit with tortured face. Months and months of posing as dullard, soiled pants, enduring brain twins, refusing myself possible solution of self-kaput, forcing my body into gross interpersonal connection, believing Meg's stories of elsewhere, believing her a lucid comrade in truth, believing her Max's concept of friend. big correction. Marcus's interpretation of a child's plaything's notion of friend that most definitely equals bogus. Yet in finally finding our orbular hope, this thing, I became blessed by a warm, useful thrum due to the simple act of dancing and feeling with Max and Meg, and how can this all be some great fabrication? And with a sudden kaboom of lucidity, I see. Oh, Meg is such a dimwit. What a toony pathetic. And I laugh deep, and it swells and bounds off the less than shiny walls and the confusion displaying faces of Max and Meg. It equals so simple. So I take Meg's face between my hands and smooch her big on her pointy nose, and I do the same to Max, and I go, Meg, you loon, you did it! She goes, did what? This is the revolution! And now I know I've definitely earned the title of King Toon. And she goes, incorrect. My info was false. Marcus must equal dead and or huge liar. And I go, Meg, Max has capability to teach usefulness. He can turn us useful. And Max goes, yes, I can, fluttering his chubby arms. Meg desperates, Timo, its role is as a plaything. Its ability to help is not. Will we simply sit down here doing dumb dances till we starve? Her lip plus voice warbles. I was wrong, Timo. There is no revolution. Greatest apologies, Timo, greatest apologies. I go, melodramatic much? Max could train us. We could pass as useful kids. Meg shrinks. Timo, remove trust in me. I equal failure. Sculpt your face to reality. I plead. Meg. Her orbs refuse mine, opting instead to become super mini bathing station. All of a sudden, Meg is like frozen in space. All movement arrested, brain turned to nil, her eyes eerily agape, non-consensually, still dripping. Max goes, Yippee! You win! Huh? Tumbles out of me. Success! In-room dawdlers can become useful through intense desire plus promise. Delivery out equals pronto. Then intro to useful role. No way! For real? I clutch Max's chunky arm. What's Meg's prospect? Stay here. No cigar on going elsewhere. Nah, buddy! Meg's orbs swirl in my skull. Sorry, buddy, it's true. She equals vehicle for your greatness. Psh, Max, you whack job. For real, stop messing. No messing. Lucid. Meg equals connector. You equals spunky, plus try to see possibility in face of harsh realness. I stroll around Meg. I think I see her eyes glimmer at me. I can't tell if they say, Timo no, or Timo yes, or Timo I betrayed you, or Timo you betrayed me, or Timo my friend, or Timo my Timo, or Timo stop looking for answers in my orbs, you loon. I equal clearly incapacitated. I make quick self-pact to retrieve her once I become head honcho elsewhere. Did Marcus make a similar pact? Max takes my hand and lickety-split, we're off. Buzzards, what a place! Extreme stimulus, difficult to formulate unmurked thoughts as to exact occurrences. First off, there are dozens of non-gen baby dudes that look just like Max, moving to and fro like expert job doers, their dinky butts a-jiggling, mixed in with folks who appear as I do, strutting elegant to their destination points. Me and Max squiggle through these thronged of task deficients, and the color's vibrancy is higher than top-notch. I previously would not have been able to conceive of such a notch. We enter a little inn-room with a table and 2 chairs. A man plows in, jumbo strides, way more than my height. Large brow, indent in right temple from excessive twinge. This dude equals a real deal rev. Man gestures and Max scuttles out, lost among the throng of dinky butts. Man booms, Timo, I'm Marcus. Whack! Like, the one... Yes, the one Meg regaled. Table rattles with his hand thump. She's no dimwit. I got elsewhere. Well, to here, at least. Elsewhere nights and off days. His fingers thrum. This doesn't equal elsewhere? I fumble.
Kinda sorta yes and no,
equivocates him, gesturing in sharp spatial arrangements.
Most doers of your rank live in commune here until loyalty efficiency equals proven. Then joining general useful society becomes possibility.
Eyes a little gaga, I go. Is it true usefuls reside in interpersonal group units in greenery?
Approximately, yes.
Another thrum.
For you, here, where greenery is viewable but not follicable until job upgrade.
His teeth gleam. When will Meg join me? What equals her extraction odds? I probe.
Nothing can be done to bring her here,
he finalizes, shaping brow dense. Nothing? Dude, she's like my King Rev.
He goes, Meg equals prime connector. Cajoles thuds like you into action. Hold happiness for her. Many connectors fail after first few attempts, are returned to pure uselessness. Meg simply has recent memory zilch, and her usefulness is chameleon to her.
Whoa, what? Recalculation galore. So Meg exists in some unknowing cycle? How many has she delivered elsewhere?
You equals 17. Be happy for her effectivity, creating 17 useful candidates out of mucky mud.
So Meg, on one hand, equals perpetually useless, and on other, the most useful of all? Mind jumbled.
Look, Timo, dingus, ready to do? Here equals your job. You sit here.
He gets up, stamps around the table, and motions me to sit in his chair.
You look at that for updates.
He points to the glass wall that now equals moving images.
You come up with great big revolutionary ideas and write them down, and we implement them and try to get more folk like you to become useful members of society. Rad?
I tremble. A revolutionary purpose. Duh!
Show full-bodied promise, and we'll deliver you from here into glorious nature community with doers who make cornucopia abundance.
Wowza!
Your spunk re this situation sits well with me. I'll mention you to community leaders during leisure batball.
Much gratitude, MacBefuddler.
You'll find past ideas in digital folder marked past ideas.
And in 3 strides, Marcus is gone. And I sit at my desk. My desk. And the feeling is incredible. I have a task, a thing to do. I open past ideas. I see a folder titled Max's Decree. I click. Dozens of folders. Abe Marie, Abe Nat. I scroll. Meg Arthur, Meg Darla, Meg Heath. Are Meg's feelings toward me equal to her comradeship with Arthur, Darla, and the others? That human come-close feeling is an experience she had with them all? I refrain from clicking. I scroll to Meg Timo. I click, and the videos explode on the screen. First time Meg and I contacted. The day I went absolute berserk in my in-room and shat myself and went to CC for first visit. And there was Meg, the Illuminary, swinging limbs at 2 mechs. But not in a flim-flam mode. Rather a feel my hurt. This equals overbearing. Get me far, far away from this locale or tear myself up from the inside, I will. Please let me create worth from my existence or let me self-kaput kind of way. And we locked orbs. And somehow she knew I understood such a desperate, desperate emotion. Our berserkity equaled the same. And she made some wonky eyelash flutters and threw me a smirk. Now another clip. Meg and me flailing like whack-job pathetics, now in a complete flim-flam manner, yet Meg's simple precision supersedes the thrashing. Our fall down the chutes, Meg jambles down at a similar level of tuniness to me, a rare sight. The birth of speech, our falling and laughing in luck, the animal nuzzling, our fine head hairs prickling each other. Meg holds me tighter than memory codified. A moment. The cusp of something huge, and a feed marked live. I click, 6 angles pop up. There is Meg. She sits in her in-room. It looks just like mine did. I watch her do daily. Her nostrils contract. Oxy in. They flare. Oxy out. Her orbs are glazed, but not like lakes. Like deep sleep of a daily doer. I ponder. Her memory equal belly up yet? She thinking of me? She appears as such a dimwit. I jolt myself with reminder that she is covert youthful. It helps. Barely. As always, assuaging my lonesome equals near zilch effectivity. I smile at her and dumbly hope to see her non-dimpled grin in return. I don't. A notification blips on my screen. To Timo, Cece, Harold, Bethany, and 22 others. From Maine Insurrection Management. Timo, welcome to your first day as Insurrection Artist. Welcome to the world of useful. Let me acquaint you with Harold et al., CC'd above. They were in your exact same position at earlier times and will be thrilled to keep you from falling off the proverbial ropes course that is usefulness. Timo, we hope your enjoyment in new accommodation is top of the heap. No worries, your office isn't your in-room, and no need for us to recommend shitting or sleeping anymore, ha-ha. Or stick you with needle to make you hurt and count slow. On that note, profuse apologies for past treatment. We thought you equaled a useless thud, which clearly you are not, due to you reading this memo. Ha-ha! What a misstep. Are you thrilled to have a purpose? Duh! We at IM provide this purpose in a stable manner, keeping you happy, healthy, and revolutionary while maintaining intactness of larger useful society. It's you folks who act as the GUI that keeps us from splitting into itty-bitty pieces. It's you folks who prevent the repetition of unspeakable events driven by your overzealous loony forebears. It's you folks who hold torch like a baton in a 100-year race of revs and make certain no one drops the flame and burns down the building. To be clear, the building being a metaphor for us, of course. Keep in the forefront of mind that with complete and utter potential, you could become completely transferred away from Maine towards greater society and could interact with useful borns and maybe even breed with them and make some useful borns of your own. Ha-ha! What a dream worth tasking towards. Look out for a blip real soon about IM Handbook. I breathe. What will greenery feel like nestled between my fingertips, reveling in the usefulness that leisure implies? In my dome, this experience includes Meg calling me a dolt for tickling her with a leaf. I imagine such mechanisms will serve the function well. However, Meg clearly exists not here, but in her in-room. I wonder what to do next, how to start tasking this very important role. There is another folder on my screen, simply marked All Live. I click. Thousands of videos. This time, folks I've never glanced at, all sitting silent in their in-rooms, watching their daily tickers, counting breaths. Nostrils contract, oxy in. They flare, oxy out. I hear my own breath. Nostrils contract, oxy in, and I force the oxy out my mouth.
And that was our story. John Paul sent us extensive notes about the story, so I will let him speak. This story was born from language, starting first with the sounds, the lexicon, and then finding plot, character, setting through the linguistic world. I originally wrote this story for a creative writing workshop with Michael Cunningham at Yale, and I'm grateful for the structure we followed, starting with a sentence and coming in each week with a few new paragraphs. This kind of attention to language and letting the story flow from what preceded it, not where you want it to go, was essential to this piece. So when you read or listen to the story, delight in the language if you can, because that's how I wrote it, trying to surprise my ear with new syntaxes, new cadences. This story is about a friendship, and savoring life's little moments. and striving towards better, more free futures. About humans, gorgeous in their trying. Now we're going to hear some feedback with our assistant editor, Ben Kinney.
Hello everyone, Assistant Editor Benjamin C. Kinney here. You may have noticed the lack of these listener feedback sections in recent months. That's because we're trying out a new feedback schedule. So what I have for you today is a discussion based on 4 selected episodes from April, May, and June. In other words, I'm looking at episodes 622 through 634, that's Anna and Marisol in Time and Space, through On a Clear Day You Can See All the Way to Conspiracy, and picking out 4 that garnered a lot of response on the forums. First up, I want to look at episode 624, Fandom for Robots, by Veena Chemin Prasad, read by Trendane Sparks. The one about, well, what it says on the tin, as the saying goes. This story earned adjectives such as lighthearted, adorbs, and awesome fun. Listeners CW3 and Kyle Fiction both particularly liked the author's choice to never have Computron reveal his nature to the rest of the fan community. Instead, Computron got to participate, be accepted, and share his joy. Even listeners who aren't involved in fandom and its communities said this story was enjoyable to listen to. No wonder this one's a Hugo finalist. The second story I want to talk about is episode 628, The Endangered Camp by Ann Leckie, read by Iba Armankas. A power struggle among dinosaurs on their Mars-bound ship. Reactions to this one were widely divergent. We got a lot of people who loved how the author crafted a tense and poignant tale from such an out-there premise, though the pieces and settings didn't hang together for a couple of listeners. Mostly, listener feedback was a delightfully literal repetition of love for the concept, ranging from listener Jeff G's request, "More dinosaurs in space, please," to base 10's, "I, for one, would enjoy more stories about post-apocalyptic space chicken dinosaurs going to Mars." I, for one, cannot argue with that need. Third up, episode 629, An Advanced Reader's Picture Book of Comparative Cognition, by Ken Liu, read by Adam Pratch. Alien ethnographies as told by a single father to his child. Lots of people enjoyed the structure of a story built around these ethnographies. The soothing and dreamlike bedtime story tone lulled a lot of our listeners into joy, though a few found that effect insufficiently engrossing. For all of you who complained about the pronunciation of nuclear, be at peace. Adam has re-recorded those segments of the story, and the version online, now, is properly nuclear. Finally, episodes 632 and 633 with a 2-part Lucky Shot by Jerry Lean, read by Alethea Contis. Human and alien foes crash-landed together. This was our first multi-part episode of the year. And yes, that means we have 2 more planned. Another 2-parter coming in September, and in November we'll have a novella for you in 3 or 4 parts. We didn't get a lot of forum feedback on the fact that this was a double-length story, but the few folks who did speak up liked the idea of an occasional longer piece to mix things up here at Escape Pod. As for Lucky Shot, lots of people compared this to the classic Enemy Mine by Barry Longear, and compared it favorably. The ending in particular received universal praise. In the words of forum member Katzentatzen, it was resolved and unresolved in exactly the right ways. That's it for our selection from this spring's episodes. What did you all think about the new feedback format? If you have any thoughts on it, or on these stories, or anything else about Escape Pod, we want to hear it. Drop a word on our forums, or leave a note on Facebook, and take part in the conversation. And until next time, fly safe.
Escape Pod is a production of Escape Artist Incorporated. Distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Share it, don't change it, don't charge for it. All other rights are reserved by our authors. We're a pro-paying market, meaning if you don't donate, we don't pay our authors, and then we shut down and live in the dark and are sad. So if you want to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/EAPodcasts or at our website, escapepod.org. You can see our sister podcast, Podcastle, the newly World Fantasy Award nominated Podcastle, I should say, at podcastle.org, and the horror podcast, pseudopod.org. And Cast of Wonders, the YA podcast, castofwonders.org. Our music is by permission of Daikaiju. You can hear more from them at daikaiju.org. That was our show for this week. Our quote comes from Anthony Burgess. Let's see if I can handle this. I lay all Nagoy to the ceiling, my Gulliver on my rookers on the pillow, glazzies closed, rot open in bliss, sloshing the sluice of lovely sounds. This was Escape Pod. I'm Mer Lafferty. Thanks for listening. Have fun. And be mighty.